Next thing we're going to do is low carbon steel 90-degree swept bend with the use of a hydraulic bender. The one I've already prepared, we have an elbow, half-inch elbow. We run along 250 metres from the centre of the elbow to the centre of the pipe. So what I don't want to do is to grab a piece of pipe, put it on one centre line, mark it, and then bend on that centre line. It ends up too big, because not only have we not added in dimension Z onto the elbow, which is the gap between the centre of the fitting and how far the pipe goes into the fitting, we gain the diameter of the pipe when we bend it as well. So this being half-inch pipe, we gain half-inch on the length, which means it'll be somewhere out here when I bend it up. It'll be too far from the centre line. I've cut a piece of pipe, 600mm, and I put a thread on one end using the hand dies, which you've seen in an earlier video. I'm going to take the elbow off the bend I've already made. I'm not going to put PTFE tape or anything on here at the moment because we are going to bend it first and make sure it fits before we use it. All I'm going to do is put it in hand tight, wind it in, and that's my starting point. I always put the thread on the end of the pipe and on the fitting, and I start from the starting point and bend on to the end I'm going to cut. So the first thing I do is I line up the elbow with the red centre line you can see on the bench here, like that, and then I can run along 250mm, I've got it marked on the bench, and I can put a mark here. But like I said before, when I bend it there, I gain half an inch on the diameter. So the easy way, come back half an inch. If it's 3/4 pipe, I come back 3/4 of an inch. Inch pipe, I come back an inch, and so on. So I've got the ruler here. I can see the end of the mark on the centre line. I know where the inch is, so I find out where the half inch is, and I mark it there. And so I don't get these two lines confused, I can put a small X on it. So that is where I'm going to bend, and when I bend it there with the elbow on, this should bend up and be right in the centre of that blue line. So I'll take the elbow off, I'll leave it in the bench, and then I will move over to the hydraulic bender. So this is a rigid hydraulic bender, the one we use at college. We have where the hydraulic fluid is, we've got the on-off handle here at the side. Then we've got the handle that causes the hydraulic ram to pump in. So I can push it down, the ram comes in, pushes through these two end parts. I can take them out in a moment just to show you. Move the wing back. I've got these two blocks. So the pipe comes in. I put the wheel head on it, half inch, and then I can line my centre pipe up onto it. So the mark I want is the one that I came back half an inch on. I put that right on the centre, and I've showed you with a sticker here where the nib is on that wheel. When I put the hydraulic bender in, it comes up to the two blocks. That keeps pushing through. Eventually, these blocks, when I've got the pins in, stop from pushing forward and pushing off, and then it bends the pipe. On top of these blocks, I've got 0 to 90 already marked. That gives me an idea of how many degrees I'm going within the ballpark, roughly. To release the hydraulic ram, I turn the handle towards me, and the ram retracts back in, and then I can get the pipe out. The only thing with this bender is, I've got to have this wing on to give it a bit more strength, and I've got to put these two pins in. These are all marked up for the size of the pipe. We have right up to 2 inch, and it decreases down to 3/8. So the pipe you're using is half inch, so the two pins are on the half inch side, and I've got the two blocks with the curved ends facing towards the hydraulic ram. I've got my mark on the pipe, I push that in. I've got a window where I can see right on the centre of that bend, but I'm going to put the pipe onto it. And then I close the handle off, then bring the hydraulic ram up. I'm going to bring it up first of all till it meets the two blocks. Then I'm going to stop and check that the pipe hasn't moved for me. With this bender, we've got to be really careful because the handle springs back up, so always keep your head just to one side. So now, the pipe's up at the blocks are in place. I can look in or look through the window and check and make sure that we're all set up, ready to bend. I've put 2 white marks on the top of this wing. That coincides with the numbers on the block. So as the pipe comes through, the blocks turn and the angle moves from 30, 60 to 90. We want to go to 90 and just past it because the pipes always spring back. They spring back a bit more than the copper, so we need to go back past it a good wee bit. So now we bend it, we can see the hydraulic ram moving through. The two pipes are getting pushed back, the numbers are changing. I'm on about 25, 30 degrees now. So I keep going. I can always check down from above. I can see the angle. I can see the hydraulic ram moving through it. And now, I'm just checking, I'm at 60 degrees. Keep going. And now I'm getting towards 90. I can always check just above by looking down on it. These are normally on the floor. We've got it on a bench just to make it safer for the students to use. So I'm about 90 degrees, and I'm going to go past it just a small bit. Then I can release it. Because it springs back, I can have a quick check again. I think that looks not too bad, close to 90. Loosen it off. The hydraulic ram goes back, and then I can take it out of the machine. Now, because of the force behind it, that's stuck in pretty tight, and the only way of getting it off is banging it on the bench or on the floor. But I've got to be wary. I've got a thread on that end, so I don't want to bang it on the thread end in case I damage it. It doesn't go in the fitting. Bang it on the bench, and I can look at it, and right away I can see it sprung back a bit further than what I thought. Again, I put it back in the machine. Make sure the centre line marks up again. Turn that off, pump the handle. I can also put it in a vise and use a scaffolding pole just to tweak it more or less. So the difference between bending the low carbon steel pipe and the copper pipe is, on the copper bending machine, you bend the pipe around the wheel. On the hydraulic bender, or this type, you're pushing the wheel through the pipe. So your measurements are slightly different. And I think this one's a slightly easier bender to use. So I've got it back up. I'm going to go a couple more. Remember, it springs back again. Unwind it. I can stop it halfway so I'm not using the handle as much. Hopefully get it out. Bang it off again. That's pretty close to 90. So I can take it back over to the bench and we can check it with the measurements. So we'll do that just now. I can get rid of the ruler. If I want to check the 90 degrees, I put it on a flat surface, make sure that that's on flat, and then I can hold the square up to it. And that's actually spot on. That was more luck than judgment. So now I'm going to check my measurements. Again, I'm going to put the elbow back on. Just wind up hand tight. We're just going to check the measurements, make sure it's right. Hold it there. I'll get the pen out of the way. So I'm going to put the centre of the elbow onto the red line, and hopefully the one that I've just bent up should be right on the 250mm centre to centre. If I put it down a wee bit so you can see the lines, there we go. From that centre to the centre of the pipe, 250mm. I can check it with the ruler in the ballpark. And remember, that fitting won't go on as far once I put tape or PTFE tape or whatever I'm going to use on it as well. And that is a 90 degree bend in low carbon steel.